right, tires. Humvee, like there's a lot of people have opinions about tires. Some want them like nice and stock looking and kind of sucked in, keep the dirt from getting on your vehicle. And other people like, let's start pushing them out. Let's get that wider stance. Let's start getting aggressive here. So listen, I like probably flush, maybe a tiny bit out. I like the look of that, but that's my own personal preference. Some people really like the wide stance, kind of the urban assault look. If you're gonna go anything out, past the body, there's a few things to consider here. The back tires will pretty much take anything. Like we're looking at this back end here, and this tire sticks out probably, I don't know, a couple inches. You don't have to worry really about what's going on the back tires. On the front though, unless you're doing a lift and all that, 37s with an offset of like -18 is probably where you want to max out. You probably still chance a little bit of a rubbing issue if you're going off road and you're really maxing out your suspension and your turn. If you're going to go anything over a 37, or you're going to have any kind of a wide stance, it would serve you well to put a lift system on, just to give you that extra clearance. And it's actually on the front, it's the wheel well area closest to the foot well, or sorry, the foot, what is it called? The foot well, right? The foot well, right there, right here. The footwell of the passenger, the footwell of the driver. The tire loves to just touch that when you really compress the suspension and you turn it one way or the other. This setup right here is about as close as you can get without having to do a lift system on it. You can mash the suspension up, go off road, and it barely touches inside here. If you mash it up really tall, there's a chance you might be able to just barely bump this a little bit, which we don't want to have happen. If you do the 3-inch lift system, it just gives you a lot more range. You can go a little wider, gets the body up a little higher too, away from the tire, and gives you a little more clearance that you're wanting. Don't call and say, hey, give me 40-inch tall tires with a -44 without a lift system, because like you'll be rubbing and breaking things going into like your grocery store parking lot. Let's set you up right, make sure that you got the clearance you need, the look that you want, and it's gonna serve its purpose without breaking things and destroying paint and all that. On the wheel offsets for vehicles, when you're going off-road, the wider you get away, like the offset of the wheel, as you push out, that swing gets really aggressive, and you'll start hitting things if you don't count for that. If you look at this wheel and tire setup, these are on Cooper Discovery 37s, okay? These are a 13.5 wide, and they're on a -18 wheel. That's pushing it out about 2 inches past the edge of the body. It's actually a very common and popular setup. It doesn't rub very much. You have to really get aggressive for it to touch anything. Got a little bit of a wider stance. It's probably one of our most popular requests for wheel tire combos is that -18. Doesn't require a lift kit, and it still looks really aggressive. -10, if you want to have stuff keep from flinging on the outside of your vehicle, you want to give more of the stock look, a -10. Suck that tire in just a little bit more under the wheel well, and maybe be flush or a little bit inset, just a tiny bit. That's going to give you less swing, obviously, and keep dirt and stuff off your vehicle, but a little less of a wide stance. Consider these things when you're trying to put the vehicle together, what kind of a look you want and how you want the feel of the vehicle to be. The wider you go, the little more stable it is. So -25 bumps it out to a little more aggressive on the look. It's going to bump it out another, just a little bit more than that -18 will. And the widest that I recommend without some considerable modifications would be a -44, but that's going to be a really deep dish look on the wheel. People call it kind of the urban assault look. It's really cool looking for a lot of people. It's really fun to put that setup together. However, you just run a high risk of rubbing if you don't do like a lift kit, right? And this is still on 37s. You'll still rub on a few of these setups on 37s as you start to push this wheel out. But you make up for a little bit more. The positive is you get a little more stability. Even though you're already a very wide vehicle, you get a little wider. If you like the really deep dish look, the urban assault look, and you want like 40s, like mandatory, put a 3-inch lift system on it, get your body away from the tires and the wheels so that they can have a little more room to turn and go up and down with the suspension, and not be damaging your Humvee hood and putting dents and dings in your floor well when this front tire turns. Like I said, the back tire, you can put anything you want. You got lots of clearance there, but it's this front you really have to pay close attention to. Those are the things to consider when you're putting a wheel and tire combo setup on your vehicle, whether it's an H1 or a Humvee. You just got to consider where these things are going to touch and how it's going to affect different things. Whatever look you end up going with, call us up and we can get you either the lift kits, or we can give you recommendations of what works well depending on what you're actually trying to do with the vehicle. If you're gonna do a lot of off-roading, probably keep it in a little bit more. If you want that stability and that aggressive look, get the lift kit with the big tires on it, enjoy that too. Just make sure you do it properly so you're not damaging things and wasting money.